All right, team, it is Tuesday, April 3rd, and we are having a lunch and learn every single Monday this month. Tuesday, every Tuesday at this time, so that we can really use April to all have a blooming business. So I don't know about where you live, but it has either rained or snowed here every single day for what feels like forever. It was sunny a little on Sunday, on Easter, and it was nice on Saturday, but my car is filthy because that one day it rained, and that it was sunny, all the car washes were packed, and now it's raining again today. So we all know April showers bring May flowers. So what we want is a shower of business. That's what we're going to have. We're going to have showering business. Nancy Summers was funny when she did the leader focus. She took a big clear umbrella and she had all the sharing brochures in it. It was so funny. And she said, that's how many of these we need because of all the showering business. So, and April, we know it's the month for rain and just all of the preparation for growth, and that's what we want. I know that if you came on this call, then you want growth in your business. So that's what I am here to help you do, and that's what your leaders are here to help you do. So, how are we going to have a blooming business? Now, I know that a lot of you participated in that big booking bash that we did. I guess that was 2 weeks ago now. And a lot of you are seeing the results of that now because a lot of the bookings that you got during the booking bash are now going to take place in April. And may have already started to take place in some cases. So remember, it is hard to build your team and build your business without enough shows. So if each week you are not putting genuine effort in order to participate in that Money Monday where you're going to share your 4 shows that you booked for that week, you're going to have a hard time getting where you want to get. Because remember, the Money Monday, I'm not asking you what 4 shows do you have that week. So we're not saying doing 4 shows. We're saying last week, what 4 new occasions to show the jewelry did you put on your calendar? So if you look at the photos that people are consistently posting, and you see Becky posts, Beth Faust posts, Jennifer Ewer posts, Jeanette posted this week. She's brand new. What shows they booked that week? And you'll see some of them are in April, some of them are in May, some of them might be in June. Some of them are personal appointments, some of them are shows, some of them are fundraisers. And when you consistently do that week after week after week after week, your calendar gets full enough. Your calendar starts looking like this with lots of yellow highlights on it and shows booked and, ooh, how can I fit 2 people in? I had somebody who really wanted a Sunday in order to get their stuff before Mother's Day. And I had to double book a Sunday, meaning that my earliest show on a Sunday before Mother's Day is at 11. So I said, you can have 4 if you want to have Sunday. And so she took it. So now on Sunday, April 29th, I have a show at 11 and I have a show at 4 because that's what it'll take. And one of them cancels, at least I'm still working, but neither of them are canceling because they already have invitations out and it's happening. And I'm excited because I don't want anybody to cancel. So the Money Monday and posting and tracking every week to write down in that margin of your calendar the shows as you're booking them. Because if you see I only have 2 and it's Saturday, then you have to hustle and make some contacts in order to get those other 2 shows booked. And what happens if you don't consistently put effort into that is that you don't have enough shows and then you're scrambling, or the one show you have cancels. Now you're left with nothing. Or you sign your hostess, she takes her bookings and you're like, oh no, now I don't have any shows. And you never ever want to put yourself in a position where you think that someone joining your team is a bad thing. I don't care if a hostess that had a show that 5 people booked joins your team. You want to be like, whew, okay, good thing, because I was super busy. So I couldn't have even hardly done those 5 shows. Good thing she joined. And Becky will tell you about this. Jennifer will tell you about this, where all of a sudden, your hostess joins and there go the bookings with her. But that's all good because that means that now you have a team member with bookings. So now knowing when you have enough shows, or you're constantly working to have enough shows, that's where you can start to see some growth. Oh, excuse me. Because now you're meeting enough people to share the business opportunity with. So that's why I started that Just Share recognition, which I shared on the Facebook Live last week. But I'm going to do a brief recap on over the course of this today, because today, and really most of the Lunch and Learns this month are about recruiting, building a team, sharing the information, all of that, so that by the end of April, you have new team members. You're a new level. We have so many team members that want to promote to branch this month. We have team members that want to promote to area. We have team members that want to promote to division and more. And the way to do that is that everybody is building. So every single person that is now a fashion director, you want to be a branch by the end of April. And you want to know an extra little reason, especially if you're brand new, you might not know this. But if you promote to a new level in April, you get a free designer bag of your choice from the home office. They're going to send you an email with options and you're going to pick one. The higher your level, the nicer and the bigger the choices are. So this is the month to do it. Get out there and get to that next level so that we can get you in a designer bag. So, okay, there are lots and lots of ways that you can share the business opportunity when you're out and about, when you're at shows. And in the Just Share post yesterday, I listed 5 different ways that you can earn tickets for this recognition, which is going to help you build your team. So the first way that I mentioned was to track how many sharing brochures that you are giving out at a show. So I'm going to share my screen for a minute. Okay. So that we can take a look at this. Can everyone see you've got choices? Okay. Yes. Okay, great. So our new sharing brochure, which is, of course, this. We've done a lot of talk about this brochure in the last couple of weeks. It is a great tool, but it's only as good as you are using it effectively. Because if you're just leaving them places or giving them out without saying anything about them, that's definitely a waste of your money. So the choices are the different, this is an anagram here. So choose to share Park Lane's career opportunity. Remember, team building starts with your belief. So if you're not sure what is so great about Park Lane, why someone would want to join, why someone should want to be part of this, then that's the number one thing that we're going to need to work on. Do you believe that this is the best business opportunity that there is? Are you having fun? Would you recommend this to the person that's closest to you to join? If not, then that's something that we should talk about. When you go to a show, are you saying to yourself, who am I sharing the business with today? Or are you saying, who am I selling jewelry to? Because selling the jewelry is going to happen no matter what. That's why they came. That's the easiest part. But whose life can I change? Who can I help? Who can I bless with a business opportunity today? Most people, there's a ridiculously high percentage of people in this country dream of being a business owner. But being a business owner usually involves an investment. If you were to try to buy a franchise of Chipotle, you need millions of dollars. If you wanted to open a boutique, these are things that cost thousands and thousands of dollars. We can bless someone with the opportunity to be a business owner for as little as $39. So who are we going to do that with today? So, send to all past hosts this year. So take a look at, I want you to see, where did this go? I want you to be able to see there it is. There we go. Okay. Oh my gosh, why does this keep closing the wrong thing? There we go. Okay, so this is a suggested way that you can actually mail these brochures to some of your past hostesses, or even just that great guest that maybe you talked about it with her and then she ultimately decided against it, or actually you were too chicken to talk to her about it. So how about sending out some personalized opportunity brochures? So this was a marked up one that Nancy showed us. So she, obviously addressed it. Hey, Sally, and then thought of you, and she checked off the two things that she thought Sally would like the best. And then she indicated, she has her business card here, which I also noticed. I kind of like that Nancy has down here management positions available on her business card. That's just totally an aside. I didn't even notice that until just in the middle of this. But that is a really great thing, because usually in direct sales, everybody has to start with a basic hit from the very beginning. So that's very unique to us. And I'm going to put that on my next batch of business cards. So Nancy was showing us that a great thing to try this month would be to send these out and to use that 21-day tracker that is on the field interface. And I've trained on this with you guys before, but instead of using it to track booking shows, use it to track 10 people at a time that you are going to offer the business opportunity to by mailing them one of these brochures, one of these personalized sharing brochures. So it can be your last 10 hostesses, it can be your best 10 hostesses, but do them in batches of 10 so that it's manageable for you. So you're going to write down, Susan Smith and her phone number and mail it off. A few days later, you're going to text her and see if she got it. And then if you don't hear back from the text, then call her and go through this process of the text and the call, make notes. And ultimately, you'd like to invite them to something. So if you have a sip and style coming up, then you can invite her to your sip and style. If you have an opportunity coffee, or you should, if you want to arrange an opportunity coffee for the purpose of inviting these people to, then do that. So what you can say is, I'd love to invite you to our opportunity coffee. When would work for you? And whoever answers first, if she says that, Thursday at 1:00 is good, then try to invite everybody else at the same time. Or if the next person says that doesn't work, ask when works for them. Probably they want nighttime. Now you have two. So now you can move forward with inviting to some people in the day and some people at night. So that now you're having them come meet you at Panera and having a little opportunity coffee. What I can tell you is that we are going to do a Facebook opportunity event on Monday night, April 16th. I was looking back at my calendar. Monday night, April 16th at 9 p.m. Eastern. So that would be the backup to something live with them. And of course, you could always invite them to have your leader, such and such, give a call. So those of you that are newer or have not done this process before, then you would say something to the effect of, I would love to invite you to hear more with my friend Jennifer. She's the one who helped me when I was getting started and answered all of my questions. And I would love for her to answer your questions too. She's really nice. She's not pushy. What would be a good time that she could get in touch with you? Okay, so if these are words you're hearing for the first time, she's really nice and she's not pushy. That is the description of any leader that you're bringing people to. Okay, so if you're not sure who your leader is, then you can always use me in a pinch because I'm happy to call anybody in this entire country that would like to hear more. And that's just how it is. I would love to have my friend Jenny, okay, my friend Teresa, my friend Becky, my friend Michelle give you a call. So there's so many different options. Maybe talk to your leader first about what should you try to invite them to. Do we have an opportunity coffee? Should I invite them to the Facebook event? Do we have a sip and style set up? Do we have a show? Do we have a happy hour? Maybe you want to set up a happy hour. I would love to invite you to our happy hour that we're having to answer your questions and see the new jewelry. And maybe set up something, you know, at a Mexican place near your house and just do a plate of nachos and a round of drinks for everybody. That's super fun. So if you're doing a crowd that you think would be more apt to meet for margaritas and nachos than for coffee, then do that. But use this to track 10 at a time. And then send another batch. Once you start, you know, reaching all the end of your follow-ups, then print out a new tracker and do another 10. So really what you want to shoot for is 10 a week. So send out 10 this week, 10 next week. Because if you send out 40 today, just go take your money and flush it in the garbage, flush it down the toilet right now. Just do me a favor, because there's no way you're going to remember and be able to track 40 people at a time. But you can absolutely track 10 at a time. So that way when these are starting to wrap up, the next batch goes out, and next week you start here. Remember, with the general rule of 1 in 10 will say yes, that would mean you could potentially have 4 recruits at the end of this month. How does 4 personal recruits sound to you? 4 personal recruits would earn you $300 worth of Rich Rewards jewelry. In addition to those of you that want to be in area, you would be able to knock it out in the 1 month with all your own recruits. And those of you, how about those of you with a team? Would you like to help even one person on your team do this alongside you? Because if one person on your team does this alongside you and you do it, that would be 8 recruits on your team by the end of this month. What would that do for your team? What would that do for your business? Yes, I'm guessing that Jen's charades game over here is that she's going to be in a Mercedes. Everybody would be in a Mercedes if you did this and one team member did it with you. Everybody. So what do we think about that? If you're a leader, can you get one person on your team that you will call today and say, were you on the Lunch and Learn today? What do you think about the 21-day tracker with the personalized sharing brochures? What would you like to invite them to? Let's decide right now. Do we want to set up a coffee? Do we want to set up a happy hour? And then as a backup to that, do the Facebook event. Because the Facebook event would certainly be our, like, I don't want to say last choice, because it's still great, but it's not as great. Meeting me online is not as good as meeting you in person. So I would love for you all to commit to that by being on this call, because also, you know how great you'll do in the Just Share recognition if you do this too. So those of you that are leaders, again, you do it, yes, but try to get at least one person on your team. But imagine you got 2, imagine you got 3, depending on the size of your team, you could really see tremendous growth from this. Okay, so the same words that you're using on this follow-up is the same words I want everybody to get in the habit of saying at your shows at the checkout time when you're taking someone's order. Now, I'm going to back up though, because the chances of someone saying, yeah, you know what, I'll take that brochure, would be a lot higher if you're taking the time during your show to be sure to share some business information. So let me unshare the screen so that we can see each other again. There we go. And let's talk about a couple of ways that you can be sure, because I know when I posted the Just Share, some newer people might not even know what some of these things are, right? Because I said that you get tickets for playing the ticket game or doing some sort of Q&A or a Y bag at your show in order to share the business opportunity. Now, some of you who are newer may be saying, I don't even know what that is. So this thread also would be a good place to ask that question. So please, if you are new and read that and said, oh, I guess I can't do that, I don't know what it is, no, what that means is post a question in the thread that says, Michelle, what is the ticket game? Michelle, what is a Y bag? Jen, help me with that. How do I do that at my shows? So the one that I always recommend is doing the tickets for people that will ask you a question about either booking a showing or the job of selling the jewelry. There are people that play it where they can only ask business questions. I actually like to do both because I feel like when they ask questions about the show, about hosting a show, it increases the bookings, which is an encouragement to anyone thinking about trying the business. When they see people saying like, oh, well, if that's the case, I'm going to book a show. If that's the case, I'm going to book a show. And now here's your hostess saying, wow, if I joined, 3 of my friends just said they would have a show. So that's why I'm a believer in allowing them to ask questions on either of those topics. Now, I know that sometimes people hesitate to do this little game because they are afraid they won't know the answer. I promise you that that will not happen because it's not a question on anatomy and physiology. It's only a question about something to do with hosting a party or the business itself. And you're only really giving pretty quick, easy answers. So, just as a brief overview, the way that I like to do this is, first I say, do you guys want to do, like I brought a prize today. Do you guys want to do a little wrap-up game and somebody win some jewelry? I want them to want to do it. So I've never had a group say no. So they're like, yeah, I want to win. Okay, great. And I kind of lead into it by saying, okay, ladies, I'm going to say a letter of the alphabet. You shout out a place or an occasion you'd wear jewelry. So if I say W, you're all going to shout out wedding. W is not going to be one of the letters, but it's an easy answer. So I added that in recently because I had people like naming geographical places recently, and I'm like, why don't people understand the directions to the game? So that's why I threw in. So if I say W, you're going to say wedding. Okay, so our first letter is B. And then birthday party. Yes, B is for birthday party. It's also for booking a showing. When you decide you're going to book your own style showing, you're going to receive, and then you recap the hostess benefits. That's a good time also to use the fold out. Have we seen, let me grab a fold out. If you've not ever seen this on the supply order, it's called the fold out. And when you use this, you say, so when you decide to have your own style showing, to book a style showing the way that Susan did today, you get all of this. So now they all pay attention, and you can go through how they're going to get a thank you award, and you just kind of bring up each thing so that they can get an idea visually of all the things that they get if they decide to book a style showing with you. Okay? So then you go on to F, and they say funeral. And yes, you need jewelry for a funeral. And you're going to, and F is for a fundraiser. If you have a school, team, cause, or organization of any kind, I would love to partner with you and help you raise as much as 50% profit for you and your organization. It can be an official organization, such as a team that's going to Cooperstown for baseball, or a competitive cheerleading team, or anything you want. Or it can be an unofficial, like my friend's house burnt down and we're trying to raise money for her, because it does not have to be an official organization. Because remember, we can always just take the liberty of holding a show and writing a check, right? If I'm going to, that's the kind of fundraiser I prefer. I want to write them a check, because then I'm getting them in front of me. I'm going to book more shows, and I'm going to make less money that day for sure, because I'm signing over most of my commission. I'm certainly not taking a loss. I'm going to retain enough commission to cover my use of, oh, Chelsea, I need you to keep your camera still, please. I'm getting like nauseous. Thank you. We don't, oh my God. I will simply write them a check, and then I'll keep the part of the free jewelry. And certainly am making sure that I keep back enough commission that I covered like my catalogs and stuff like that. Because it's still time, right? I still set them up a Facebook event. All of that time is money too. But I'm happy to write them a check for the majority of it. And then I just got to meet all these new people. I surely book shows with people I never met before. And totally amazing. So that's letter F. Then you do letter P. P is for payment. You go over the forms of payment. Letter O. O is for our business opportunity. I hope that what I showed you here is that my job is fun, easy, sparkly. And that's where you do a little tiny part of your story. You know, I started this business when I started in direct sales actually 18 years ago when I had a 6-month-old baby at home, and my husband was like, the Cobra costs $600 for our health insurance right now. Could you possibly do something part-time in order to make that, right? So, and then, you know, I continue on to, so I bought a kit. I did a show. The girl had, had told me that she made $200 at my party. And I said, well, if I do that 3 times, then I'll have $600. So I did. And my husband was like, ooh, could you make $1,000? So then, I've been upped more and more through the years. So this is your chance to ask me so that's why I bring around my little Life with Park Lane album. That's when I show them the photo album. You guys have all seen the photo album? I'll real quick show that in case for people, I know that you all have on the call, but for people that are going to watch the playback. I bring around my little Life with Park Lane album, and that's why I like to take pictures of you ladies here at the shows, because that way you can make it into my album. But it's pictures of us having fun at parties, and when we go to convention and get all kinds of awards. Park Lane lets us earn 2 free vacations at least every year, depending on level. So I have trips in here for Hawaii, an executive weekend in New York City and Miami. We just got back from Zurich, so I have to put those pictures in here. We're currently earning a trip to Greece. And I know that's very nice and all, Michelle, but do you actually make money selling Park Lane? Yes, I do. So in the back here, I have a series of checks to give you an idea of the money that can be made. So if that sounds good to anyone, hand it to somebody who was paying attention. This is your chance to ask me any additional question about either hosting a showing like Chelsea's doing here today, or any question about my job of selling the jewelry. As many questions as you ask, you get a ticket for each one. The more tickets you have, of course, the greater your chances are of being picked as the winner. And then you do your Q&A. What I'm going to do is, I did a pretty extensive video training on that at convention. I'm going to repost that link as part of the follow-up for this call. Also, I did a training at the last convention on the album and the use of the album and the making of the album. So I'll repost that one as well, so that you'll have the Booking Seeds one and the album one right up front. Okay, so when you then engage with them, this is when you really become like such a normal person to them. The Q&A, you really get to, they learn a little bit more about you and your family and your life. And that's where the heart tug seeds start coming out. Because to that point, you may still have come across as the lady who's here selling the jewelry. But when they start asking you about your business and your life and your family, and they look at the photo album and see pictures of your kids, your husband, your friends, your hostesses, you become so much more of a normal person. And that's who they're more apt to want to work with. That's who they want to bring into their home. So that then when you are sitting and doing the order later, you're able to say, was there anything about my job that you found at all attractive? And then that's when they're going to say, you know what? I didn't know you earn a free vacation every year. I didn't know when you go on vacations, that's not work. Because they maybe saw you post pictures or whatever. So then I'll say, oh yeah, no, that's a vacation. We don't have meetings. We don't have any learning. I mean, you do just from fun, but there's nothing official like that. So that's when you then will say, you know what? I would love to answer, to, make sure that you had your questions about that and more answered. If I give you this brochure, would it be okay if I have my friend Jen give you a call? She's the one who answered all my questions when I was new and getting started. I would love for her to answer your questions as well. So do you see how you can transition more smoothly from, you just were answering their questions. Now you're asking a specific individual, was there anything that sounded good about my job? And let them tell you what sounded good. Whatever they answer with, confirm how great that is. Pay them a compliment. You know what, Chelsea? I'm so glad to hear that because, yeah, we do earn a lot of free jewelry. And you're so fashionable. That's something that you would absolutely love to have, all this free jewelry coming into your house. That's amazing. So they're more apt to take the brochure. They're more apt to say, all right, you know what? I'm going to be around tomorrow from like 12 to 2. Okay, great. I'm going to text you what time Jen said that she's free, and we're going to give you a call. Thank you so much. Then do their order. Put the receipt in here like a little envelope. Make a note that on their receipt, after, make a note on their receipt that says wants to speak to Jen between 12 and 2. And then, send them off with it. If they say no, I still use this as a little envelope. I just don't need to make any note on their receipt, so that then I'll just fold it up and say, all that stuff that I was talking about with the Q&A is actually kind of recapped in this brochure. That way, in case you change your mind that something's for you, or you know somebody who it might be for, you'll have one handy and you can have them contact me. I have my information stamped on the back, so that if it does end up in someone else's hands, whoever it is can ultimately get in touch with me. Okay, I know I was talking for a long time. Questions or comments about anything that I just shared?
This is just a fun side note of something different to do for the question game, because I was getting bored with it because I love it so much and it's so helpful. But I had been in front of the same people 3 and 4 times, and so I felt like there was something that I needed to do to change it up. So I went on the field interface, and there was another idea of people pull stuff out of their purses, and then you say how it relates to Park Lane. And it was so fun because people were pulling out car keys, and people were pulling out highlighters and, chapstick, and just fun things that you could just make it really lighthearted, but it was totally relatable to Park Lane. And so just another idea.
How do you introduce that? What's the lead in?
So I just would say something like, okay, I'm gonna have you, does everybody have their purse? Everybody grab your purse out, and here's what we're gonna do. I want you to find the most random thing that you have brought tonight in your purse, and I want you to pull it out, and I'm gonna share with you how that relates to what I do and my job and Park Lane and jewelry, and we're just gonna have some fun. And of course, people are digging out the most random things. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. The most random things that they, can find. Somebody pulled out some kind of like Happy New Year Chinese brochure, and I related it to, like a new year, new you, Happy New Year thing. Or the highlighter was, I pulled out my calendar and, I showed them dates that I had highlighted that, I wanted to see them again, or things like that. So it was a lot of fun. So just another idea to kind of help make things comfortable and lighthearted, so that, and then if they stumped me, if I couldn't do it, then I gave them 3 tickets instead of just 1 for participating. So it made them want to find something. So it was fun.
That's great. Laura Zamet actually shared a different letter thing for them to shout. So she said, I'm going to say a letter. You shout out a word that describes your man. that starts with that letter. So then B, it was like Burley. B is so your man is Burley, and B is for booking a show. So it was the same letters, but different category of things. And obviously that could open quite a can of worms, but it would definitely provide some laughs, that's for sure. And, you know, Jen has made a great point here in that when you are not sure, when you want a fresh idea, always go on the field interface. There are so many great ideas out there, different ways to do the ticket game. You know, so anything. There's so many great ideas. So if you find, I love when the team does this, anytime you go on the field interface and you're like, this was a great video, I can't believe I've never seen this before, that's all YouTube. Copy the link, post it in Shine On and say, hey, love, I found this video on the field interface today and I loved XYZ. I promise you something fun will show up in your mailbox if you do that on our team page, because I love when people bring stuff like that to our attention. All right, so to recap, your follow-up action steps for this week is to print out that 21-day tracker and mail out 10 personalized sharing brochures to 10 of your favorite hosts or to friends. Maybe you're brand new and you don't have 10 hosts. You probably have 10 people that you know in your life that you'd love to work with. Send them to them. Or great guests or people you know that love jewelry. Send out 10 and do that follow-up, and then next Tuesday will be the start to do another 10. And I'll see you next Tuesday back here where we're going to talk about our next sharing thing in Blooming Business. And then decide, look over that Just Share recognition and make sure that you're doing the things on it, because that's how you're going to build. Track how many sharing brochures you're giving out. Practice a Q&A ticket game. If you're not sure about playing the ticket game, then practice it with a team member, practice it with your leader, practice it with your kids. Kids always love playing that game because they want to shout out names and whatever all the time. Whenever there's kids in the room, they're always blurting out answers to get in the game. So that's great. If you're not sure about how to do the hostess order form, which is way number 3 to get tickets, we're going to reshare that video. Some of you are probably so sick of that video by now, but it's an important skill. And then give those names and phone numbers to your leader so that we can help you build your team. Any other thoughts or questions before we sign off? All right. Well, then I thank you for taking 45 minutes out of your very busy day to train yourself today. I'm going to share those videos. And when I post the recording, I would love for you guys to comment on what it is you're going to do for this week that you learned from this. What was your aha moment? Something about this call. Make a comment, because I send prizes for that too. So have a great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.